Do you remember when you started your business and there were so many things that you didn't know? And now you do. But now you also don't. Why is that, and why is that important? My name is Nell. I'm an Action Coach business coach, and let me take you back and remind you of the time when you were learning to drive a car. Now, why would that be important, Nell, I hear you think? Stick with me on this one. Now, when you started a business, a little bit like when you started learning to drive a car, there were so many things that you didn't know. There were so many things that you really had to think about absolutely massively. Sales and marketing. It could have been around how to do your own accounts and bookkeeping or even your invoicing. There was just so many things on your plate that you had no idea. And where right now you do them without thinking about it, right? So like driving a car. We've all been there. We've been at that level where we sit in the car and we had to think like mirror, signal, maneuver, look over your shoulder, all the traffic everywhere, and you get out of the car and you'd be so tired because your brain's just gone poof, exploded with all the things that you needed to think about. Now, when we take that into learning styles or into how learning works, we call that the conscious and incompetent level. So you're conscious of what you need to do, but the actions that you need to take, right now, you're still incompetent. So you're still at that stage where you have to think about it loads. Now, that's actually the second step, because there's a first step. And the first step is where you are unconscious and incompetent, where you might not know, where you don't know what you don't know, and you also don't know how to do it. That's our starting point, as it is with everything. Now, slowly on, you learn to drive, you pass your test, you drive a little bit more, and before you know it, it becomes a bit of second-hand. You do all these things, but you don't sit in the car anymore and think, this is what I need to do next. Now, all of a sudden, you sing along to the tunes on the radio. A bit like in business. The marketing is happening, you're having sales meetings without really thinking consciously of these are all the things I need to say. Obviously, your skills, scripts, and questionnaires help with that. There's loads of things in your business that you no longer need to think about. You're on autopilot. You are a little bit on autopilot, but you're still doing things and you might just need to check here and there. Am I doing this right? You're not fully there yet, but it's a lot more comfortable. Now, that's the level where you are conscious and competent. It's just nicely flowing. And now that next level is where you are unconscious and competent, where you have all of a sudden arrived at your destination and you go, I didn't even think once of how I got here. I just drove here. And you're not really even remembering some of the things that happened out on the road, but you were maybe engrossed in an audiobook, but yet you got there safely, because nowhere in that did you consciously have to think. It's in your subconscious. It's just taking care of it because you've been training your brain enough by doing this car journey over and over and over. But then when you drive somewhere else again, somewhere new, you might just need to pay a little bit more attention, so you drop down a level. Same with your business. On autopilot, doing all these things. Things are just happening. You're not really thinking about it. It just happens because you keep doing the same thing all over again. And then the last level is where all of a sudden I go, you know what? You can drive. You can drive really well. Here are the keys. Although technically they don't have keys, but here are the keys to an F1 car. Go and drive that. And you would sit in that small car and you would go, right, I technically know how to drive, but I don't know how to drive this because they've only got 2 pedals instead of 3. They have loads of buttons on the steering wheel that you go, I don't need to know this. And let's also be fair, they go a lot faster than your normal car. So what does that mean? So all of a sudden you're at the conscious level, but you're back to incompetency because at that level you don't know how to do what technically you do know how to do. But it's the next level. So we start back to the bottom where you have to learn again of how to do that. Now you might sit there with a bit of a frown going, Nell, why is that relevant to business? Well, very simply, and it's more than anything else, it's something to be aware of. At every stage in business, there is going to be something that you have to learn, where you are going to have to take that next level of learning to help you get comfortable. competent at that next level. And when you do that next step, a lot of people often get a little bit uncomfortable because it stretches your comfort zone. And as adults, we have this terribly unrealistic expectation of ourselves that we need to know how to do everything, that we need to know how to learn how to do something from the first step that we've been shown, and that we can't take our time to learn something new. And I'm not really sure where this has come from, but I see that in my clients all the time. So what I wanted to do with this video is make you aware there is 4 different levels. There is nothing wrong with any of those levels. It's about being aware, what level am I at? What does that mean as I grow my business? What level is coming? What do I need to be aware of? Yes, you are going to feel a little bit stretched because you're learning something new. Yes, all of a sudden it might feel like you're very much doing step 1, step 2, step 3, and you will have to keep repeating that until it becomes second nature. By the time it becomes second nature, you are comfortable, you're within your comfort zone. Before you know it, your business grows, and guess what's going to happen? Next level, where that's happening automatically all over again. So they will happen, expect them to happen, be comfortable with them happening, and be patient with yourself. You don't have to remember everything from the get-go. Make sure you have the process in place, make sure you have the steps in place, make sure you have the learning plan in place to be able to grow yourself on that level until you get to that next level of competency, that next level of consciously being aware of what's going on. Go and enjoy the learning, because it is fun. Although it might be a little bit challenging, it's great fun because it means you're growing and you're moving forward.